I will be speaking with you today about the growth in drone technology. Where did this vision come from? What groundbreaking discoveries did we find? Who were the ones responsible for this new tech? It all started over 170 years ago when the Austrian soldiers were attacking the city of Venice, Italy. They needed to find a way to get the explosive charges into the city without them knowing about it. They thought of using balloons and filling them with explosive materials and sending them into the air to bomb Venice. While some of the balloons were effective, many of them blew back and hit the Austrians instead. Although it seemed like a great idea at the time, the practice did not become widely adopted. Through the years, men attempted many interesting ideas of using flight as a new method of the future. Then enters, that's right, you guessed it, the Wright brothers. Wilbur and Orville Wright were two brothers who were inseparable. They lived together, they worked together, they even had a joint bank account together. As young boys, their passion for aviation started when their father, Milton Wright, showed up one day with a toy helicopter. It was all downhill from there. After years of designing and failing, the brothers soon became famous for the Kitty Hawk flight, the very first of its kind, a manned flying machine. After they learned that aviation was at their reach, Wilbur and Orville started plans for a power-driven aircraft. After years of experiments with flight, on December 17, 1903, they succeeded in flying the first free control flight of a power-driven airplane. Wilbur Wright flew for 59 seconds and over a distance of 852 feet, an extraordinary achievement. A mere 16 years later, Great Britain developed the first unmanned winged aircraft, the Ruston Protector aerial target. The aerial target was based on designs by Nikola Tesla and was flown by radio control, much like the ones we use today, but as you can imagine, the technology was much more basic. The aerial target was essentially a flying bomb. British military eventually chose to scrap the idea, believing that the unmanned aerial vehicle had limited military potential. Boy, was he wrong. UAV technology improved throughout World War II and into the Cold War as well, but they were largely seen as unreliable and expensive tools. Nowhere near as reliable as the exciting new innovations in manned aircraft like the SR-71 Blackbird. The Blackbird flew countless successful missions and kept the confidence of the military intact. So why continue with the drone idea? Haven't we lost enough resources into this idea? How will we make this UAV idea a reality? It was known that the United States and the USSR used unmanned drones to spy on each other during the Cold War, but the specifics are still classified. During those times, drone technology was just cresting the true potential of unmanned flight. What we do know is the modern drone warfare began in 1982 when Israel coordinated the use of battlefield UAVs alongside manned aircraft to wipe out the Syrian fleet with very minimal losses. The Israeli Air Force used military drones to jam communications, find the enemy's position, and to act as decoys to prevent the loss of pilot life. Another idea that the US military developed was a drone that could be carried by the infantrymen on the field of battle. It could easily be launched from the ground and conduct surveillance and mapping directly from the battlefield. It soon would be called a man-portable air defense system. What if drones could be developed to fly at higher altitudes, out of sight? What if drones could fly over longer distances? Well, the US flew its first overseas UAV mission on August 21, 1998, completing its flight in 26 hours. In 1995, the US developed the MQ-1 Predator. Up until this year, the Predator was used by the US to survey combat areas, scan and mark enemy positions, and flew on numerous offensive missions that remain classified. The history of non-military drone use began in 2006. The Federal Aviation Administration issued a commercial drone permit that would allow commercialized UAVs to perform several very important tasks. Government agencies for disaster relief use these drones to perform border surveillance and wildfire fighting, while corporations began to inspect pipelines and spray pesticides on farms. After all the experiments and trials, there is still a major obstacle that is getting in the way of technology: the FFA regulations limiting what the drones can and cannot do. As of now, the rules state that the drone can't fly over 400 feet, it must maintain the line of sight, and they cannot fly over people. So, you can imagine how difficult this will be if the regulations are not adjusted. According to the International Business Times, the proposals are too restrictive. In 2013, Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos announced that he was starting to research the idea of using drones to deliver Amazon packages all around the country. In 2016, Amazon delivered its first Prime Air package in Cambridge, making retail sales history. Other major corporations are getting on the drone delivery wagon, such as Domino's Pizza. UPS has come up with a very interesting way of using drone delivery in its favor. They have developed delivery trucks that have a drone built into the roof. The drone leaves the truck on its delivery, while the driver also makes another delivery. The partners meet up at a safe location and move on to the next stop. The U.S. Customs and Border Protection Agency has experimented with several models of UAVs and has begun purchasing a fleet of unarmed MQ-9 Reapers to survey the U.S. border of Mexico. In more than 6 months of service, the Reapers aided in nearly 3,900 arrests and helped seize over 4 tons of marijuana. The U.S. is also toying with the idea of using the MQ-9 in search and rescue missions. The drone is equipped with infrared cameras and digitally enhanced zoom that is able to detect a human signature up to 10,000 feet in the air. Technology is growing at a rapid pace. It is hard to say what the future of drones are going to be, but we think we have a pretty good idea in mind. I hope this has given you a little more knowledge of where we have been and where we are heading in the drone world. With any luck, the technology will continue to grow and the regulations that are holding us back will diminish over time.